Comments for the week ending December 18th from the beef farmers of Ontario. There were 408 head of fed steers and heifers sold through auction markets last week, up 26 head from the previous week. Fed steers averaged 301.69 per hundredweight, up 136 per hundred, and fed heifers averaged 302.49 per hundredweight, up 384 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported that fed steers and heifers sold actively $3 to $5 higher. In Ontario, dress sales were reported up to $5.20 per hundredweight delivered, $10 to $20 per hundredweight stronger than the previous week. Cattle that traded would be picked up in 1 to 2 weeks. U.S. packer interest was supportive, and light volumes of Eastern Canadian fed cattle were marketed south. Depending on freight and dressing percentage, sales to the U.S. were working back on either side of $3.08 per hundredweight FOB the feedlot. For the week ending December 6th, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports to the U.S. were 5,115 head, 22% above last year and 67% above the 5-year average. Year-to-date, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports were up 2% from last year. Cull cow receipts sold through auction markets last week were 2,985 head, up 375 head from the previous week. Cows averaged 165.62 per hundredweight, up 163 per hundred. Beef cows averaged 177.10 per hundredweight, up 566 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported that fed cows sold at steady prices with good demand. Total receipts were 9,600 head last week. Receipts of 4,111 stock and feeder cattle sold through Ontario auction markets, up 251 head from the previous week. Auction markets reported on Friday, December 12th, the calves sold sharply higher. Yearlings sold strong. By Thursday, calves sold on a very strong market with quality considered. The Quebec electronic market prices are not available at press time. Last week, Alberta fed steer and heifer prices closed the week averaging $294.94 and $292.97 per hundredweight respectively, $350 to $410 per hundredweight stronger than the previous week. Dress sales were reported from $493 to $495 per hundredweight delivered. Cattle that traded were scheduled for delivery throughout the month of January. By Wednesday, December 17th, light trade developed with dress sales reported at $495 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $2 per hundredweight higher than the previous week. For the week ending December 13th, Western Canadian fed processing was 39,231 head, 2.5% lower than last year. Over the past 2 weeks, Canadian fed beef production is roughly 3% higher than a year ago due to heavier carcass weights. Canadian beef exports for the month of September were 1% larger than last year. The U.S. cash cattle trade last week saw dress sales in Iowa and Nebraska reported from $355 to $363 per hundredweight, $3 to $4 per hundredweight higher than the previous week. Live sales in the north were reported at $228 per hundredweight, steady with the previous week. Business in the southern feeding states was quiet. The USDA December 1st cattle on feed report released last Friday shows total cattle on feed at 11.7 million head, down 2% from last year. Placements of 1.6 million head are down 11% from a year ago, and marketings of 1.52 million head are down 12% from 2024. This is Jamie Kerr with the Beef Farmers of Ontario Market Information Report.